I've got to get these different streams to sync. There we go. Okay. So we are live. It's been a long time. It's been over 3 months since I've streamed. And so I'm going to have to double check to make sure that everything is streaming accordingly. We double check now. But hopefully y'all are... okay, see, yeah, this is what it was, a 30-second stream. Oh man, yeah, that ended up messing up our the fact that we started and stopped. So, welcome, folks. So we're just double checking all of our different streams here. Okay, it's not showing. Okay, here we go. View on YouTube. Let's see. So we're okay. Hey, what's up, Bart? Okay, so I'm gonna have to update the link, I think, because. Okay. All right. So now we need to update the link. Yeah, so the link is wrong now on everything because we had to start and stop, unfortunately. So let me fix the link on all of these. So here we go, edit. All right, it's gonna be here and oh, that's so weird. What the heck? All right. Anyway, as long as it works. Now let's go to our events here and make sure this is going. All right, here it is. Go live now. Yes. Add a title. Where is that? I'm just gonna go live. Okay. All right, we're good. So I got Instagram up, I got Facebook up, I got Patreon updated. I need to update Buy Me a Coffee to the correct stream here. Here it is. All right. Okay. So that's going to be here it is. Save changes. Okay, good. And then the last one I have to edit is the website. Oh goodness. Update. Okay, that's fixed. That's fixed. That's fixed. All right. Okay, we are up and running. Okay, so looks like I have a family member on the chat through YouTube, MHBA. I am someone's nephew. Who's that? Who's MHBA? It's either my aunt or my uncle. Let me know who you are, MHBA, so I could greet you properly. We are officially rolling, and I just want to welcome everyone. It's been a while, I know that, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in for this comeback, hopefully. And I want you all to welcome Jonathan Bruce. He is helping me host today as well, as usual. But the plan is that by the end of this month, I will have the stream transition over to my place so that we can get him off the hook. And also because now I've moved, which is actually a big part of the update that I'm going to be sharing with y'all. And so now I actually live a bit of a distance away from everyone else. So it's a bit of a trek to be coming here to stream. So I'm actually in the process of setting up my place for streaming. That's a big part of what happened in the last 3 months, and we're going to get into that. I see Reverend Wilson, Reverend Michael Wilson from church. He is a gem in the rough. No offense to the rest of Cottonwood, calling y'all rough, but relatively speaking, compared to everyone else, he's one of the rare gems in that rough. But the rest of y'all are fine too. Reverend Michael Wilson actually just released a book. I did get your text, Reverend Mike. I've just been completely, underwater this week trying to get things set up for today. But I've been meaning to text you back. But I'm very excited for Reverend Mike. He just released his book. He's one of the elders at our church and one of my mentors as well. And so just want to shout him out. The book is called Ripples in the Water, something of that nature. Let me look again. Ripples on the Water by Mike Wilson. So this is what it looks like. Let's see if we can, here, actually, I'll try this one. Ripples in the Water. That's what his book looks like. And speaking of books, there is another book we're going to talk about soon. But at least I wanted to shout out this new release. He's a very deep meditative thinker in the spiritual layers and readings and dimensions of Scripture. And so he has a very fruitful sort of yield in his meditations and in his reflections. I would highly recommend, if you care, you can reach out to me and I'll figure out how to get his book out there. But we'll get to another new book release soon. So stay tuned for that. Teaser, hint, hint. And until then, I just want to catch us up. And before I do, I want to ask if there's anything you wanted to say to the people, Jonathan, or are we, should I just launch into my... All right. Okay. Okay. I'll dive in here. So again, welcome everyone. If anyone's having issues with audio or video, please let me know. I'm seeing y'all come in. I'll greet you first. And if I see you comment, I'll go ahead and greet you. If I don't see a comment, I won't greet you even if I see you live. Karen, good to have you, dear mother, on the stream. I see you on Facebook. I see a number of you, but you haven't commented, so I don't want to embarrass you all. But if you want me to shout you out, go ahead and say hi on the chat, and I will. I'll say hi back. But Reverend Mike Wilson has just updated me on his book availability. It's on Amazon. So Reverend Wilson, if you want to post the link to the Amazon, let me actually look it up. It's called Mike Wilson Ripples on the Water, Amazon. Let's see if it comes up. Mike Wilson books. This might be a different Mike Wilson. Yeah, it doesn't come up right away. So Reverend Mike, if you don't mind posting that. Oh yeah, thank you, Ron. So Ron, good to have you on. He just posted his tag on Instagram at Mr. Man Wilson. So at Mr. Man Wilson will take you to his Instagram where you can get the link and the details, I reckon. But anyway, don't mind the bump on my head. I hit my head today while I was rushing along, trying to get ready for this, and and I am in a new place. I moved, so I'm still learning where all the bumps are, where all the hard edges are in the house. So that's the reason for that. Now we're going to talk about that in just a second. Let me go through the rest of these. So your aunt in the Springs. Oh, Amto. That's Amto. That's my favorite aunt. Only because don't be offended, all my other family members. She's my favorite aunt only because she raised me. In my childhood, we had to move in with her and with the family, and she was a true mother to me, and so I'm very pleased to see her on here. So she's asking, what's his book about? I'm not, it's a collection. It's a collection, if I'm not mistaken, it's a collection of various topics and various reflections on the Scriptures, a lot of poetic reflections and meditations, and a lot of spiritual and symbolic connections. So I would, he's a great writer, and I I haven't read it, so I don't know what exactly went into that specific collection. But stay tuned for another book release update from someone you guys all do know, even if you don't know Reverend Wilson. But we'll get to that in just a second. So Bart, I see you on. Yo, what's up, brother? Good to see you, gang. What's gang? Is that like the MACT Divines, the Immortals? I think that's pretty much all the shout outs. I don't see anyone else. Let me pull up. Maybe I'll pull up Twitter, and I'll pull up Twitch as well. So I am streaming on Twitch, on Twitter, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So, right, yeah, that's pretty much all the shout outs we've got for now. But good to have you all on. So, all right, on to business here. So, some family business, just more personal stuff this stream. But before I jump in, I do want to pray and just, give it to the Lord, regardless of whether it's a personal stream or a sort of a biblical stream. So let's commit this to the Lord. Heavenly Father, I place before you and I cast before your feet this podcast, this stream, Lord, this channel, and this work, the labor of my hands and of my lips. And I ask that you would grant a fruitful yield and a abundant harvest of the fruit of my lips, that they may be pleasing to you, the fruit of my lips, the praise of your name and the glory of your name, not just from me, but from all of those who have joined and those in the chat. And I ask that the testimony I share will glorify you, and that it would be an example of your great faithfulness, Lord, to us, as you have been faithful to me in the last few months of sort of being incubated in the cave, so to speak, or sort of cast into the desert, as we all are, as we must be in order to mature. And so I ask that you would grant for us to be awakened in our senses, Lord. Open our ears to listen as those being taught. Dig out ears for us. Circumcise our ears. Circumcise our lips, our hearts, our thoughts, our flesh. And Lord, I ask that you would be glorified and establish the work of my hands here and the work of all of our hands together. And I ask that you would enrich the communal fellowship on the chat and on the stream, and that you would cause this to benefit everyone who listens. And I ask a special blessing over Jonathan Bruce and his labor of love and his generous and hospitable care and provision for me here at this place, his place, and his equipment, Lord. And I ask that you would please provide for me to be able to get the equipment I need to stream from my place by the end of the month. That is my desire, so that I can bless your people more regularly, consistently, and permanently by your will. And so I ask you to bless this stream and breathe upon us, Lord. And I commit and consecrate myself to you. In Jesus' name, amen. So if you're just joining, welcome once again. And it's a delight to have you guys back. And it's a delight to be back on here. So some ground rules again, as usual. Jonathan is allowed to interrupt me anytime, and sort of lay down the law if something's going on that I'm not aware of, or if he needs to pause me for whatever reason, or if I've lost track of the chat. But crack the whip, exactly. Can they hear you? Did they hear you? They probably didn't hear that one because you're not near the mic. But anyway, so that's Jonathan. Obviously always give him precedence because this is his place. And so, and then as far as shout outs, if I see you on the chat, it does show me when you guys tune in, but I won't shout you out. I won't embarrass you. I'll let you lurk. But if you want me to shout you out and say hi, leave a comment and I'll greet you. So, for example, Paulina just chimed in at the end of that prayer. She says, "Amen." Thank you, Paulina. Amen. Glory to God. And let's see if I've missed any other shout outs. that's pretty much it. So let's get into my story time. This is first segment is story time. So what on earth happened with me for the last 3 months? I was completely MIA. I'm behind. I'm still behind on hundreds of messages. I haven't even hung out with my best friends in like 3 months. People at church were worried about me. I was going to church, but I wasn't always hanging out afterwards. And there were some Sundays that I had to miss and go to a different church for reasons that'll become clear in a minute here. But so what happened? what happened was about 3 months ago, beginning of June, I was evicted from the place I lived. And I had been there for 7 years, and it was a wonderful place to live. It was like the Garden of Eden to me. It was like paradise. I loved it. And the landlord and his family were wonderful people, and they still are. And they've always been wonderful to me. But a time had come for various reasons that they needed to, work on the place and do some things with it. So the time had ripened, and I even, it's crazy, is the Lord was actually telling me get ready to move, and I was in denial. Like he had been telling me for like almost a year, and I was sort of in denial because I didn't want to deal with the stress. But then it all kind of fell on me, and I knew it was time, so I embraced it. And they were so generous with the amount of time they gave me. They gave me 2 months to find a place, which is wonderful. And so I was looking and just really hustling to, going, visiting countless places. I'd gone in with a group that was going to rent a place, and I was looking at my own other options. I was calling up friends all over the state. I was thinking about even moving out of state if I had to, even out of the country if I had to. I was open to all the options. And after the first month, when I explored all these other options, I realized I had to make the call. And so I ended up going with the most difficult option, which was a place, a location that was similar to the situation I had, which was like a back house. But the problem was that it was in a bit of disrepair and it needed a lot of work. And so me and my friend who had helped me find this place, that's a whole nother story and testimony in and of itself, which I may get into at some point in the future with his permission. But a friend of mine, he and I decided to go ahead and basically rebuild this place. And so for the month of July, it was the most insane crucible of fire that I've been in for probably my whole life. It was constant, nonstop, from pre-dawn till past midnight every day, of me, going over there to work on the place. Literally, we gutted we gutted half of the place, so half of it had already been remodeled by someone else, but the other half needed a whole nother depth of work because there was water damage and mold infestation. And so we stripped and gutted the entire place. We literally, stripped it down to the foundations. We removed all the floorboards and the bottom parts of some of the wall. And we completely renovated and restored the whole place and rebuilt it ourselves with our own hands, me and my friend. And so I just, want to give honor to my friend for helping me. And I won't specify for now, just because I don't know exactly how, whether he would want me to or not. So maybe in the future. But so there's a little bookmark. But I had to rebuild the whole place. And we did it basically ourselves, except for the last 2 steps, which when we were running out of time, we went ahead and hired people to lay the linoleum and then to paint. So those final 2 steps, but everything else, rebuilding the floor, rebuilding the walls where we stripped it for the mold. I myself took up the mold remediation. I'm basically a fake expert on mold remediation now because I went ham on that thing. I went to war. Like I really went all out and just completely, just clean the floorboards and the foundation and everything like thoroughly. And it's hard work. Mold remediation is no joke. And dried it out, sanded it down. It was like brand new wood by the time it was done. I have pictures of all of this, and I'll maybe gather them up and show them to you guys in the next stream, because I want to have all the after pictures, which I don't have all the after pictures. I have the before pictures and videos. So I'll do that soon. But it took the whole month to go in on that, and to, and we had to like cut all kinds of holes in the walls, replace the air conditioning, which my friend did because he works in HVAC and stuff. But anyway, we had to redo all the plumbing ourselves. We had to redo. It was crazy, and I had to go find furniture everywhere. And anyway, it was a huge ordeal, and it was just a really intense season of life. And I feel like God was really, showing me through this labor, that he's rebuilding my whole life, and that this was a physical, sort of, analogy, a picture of that. And he was rebuilding even the depths of my soul. And even when I was, dude, if you've never done mold remediation, like really intense, all the way down to the depths of the house, it's really something. If you have done it, you know what I mean. And God really used that to speak to me about the leprosy in my own soul. So it's like I was cleansing the leprosy of the house, so to speak. I was purging the leprosy of the house, kind of like the law of the priest with the leprous house. And when Jesus cleansed the temple, which was following the law in Leviticus of the priest that cleanses the leprous house. And God was really using that to speak to me, correct me, rebuke me about the leprosy in my own heart, in my own house, which is his temple, my body and my soul. And just how intricate his work is in, and how, like a little leaven leavens the whole lump. That sort of idea is, it's never been more visceral and clear to me than when I did that work. And so anyway, this is actually, there's a bigger story behind all of that, but I'll share that. I'll save that for another time. Anyway, so it was just constant work daily, sunrise to midnight, and just nonstop. And I barely made it on time for the deadline of my, vacating the place. And so I moved in right on time. A big reason why I went with that option was because it was the most difficult option, but it was the best situation for my cat Mocha, and not just for my cat Mocha, but also for another cat that I actually have been taking care of for years now. And he was like my other cat, but he was an outdoor stray that retired in our yard. And I started taking care of him after the neighbor couldn't anymore. And so, long story short, his name was Chip, and I'm going to show you guys pictures of Chip as well. I didn't plug in my computer, did I? Oh, I meant to do that, because I was going to show you guys pictures. I have them ready right here. Is there a way to plug it in live? Like real quick, just.
I could plug it in really fast.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. While we're getting this plugged in, I'll show you guys pictures of Chip. But the reason why I'm showing you guys these pictures is because Chip was a very elderly, is a geriatric cat, very old, and he had cancer in his jaw and had to have his teeth, his main teeth removed, and he couldn't chew his food, and so I had to nurse him every time we fed him. It took like 30 minutes to feed him. And so I took care of him, and that created such an indescribable bond. And he was Mocha's only cat friend, basically. Well, no, she had another cat friend, but he was like her, main friend. And so I wanted to bring him along, and I knew he didn't have much left. He didn't have long. In fact, the last 2-3 years that I've been caring for him, every morning I was surprised that he was still alive. But because of my care and because of Mocha's friendship, his will to live was just completely renewed after his diagnosis. And also because the cancer, they wanted us to put him down years ago, and we were going to. But then he recovered, and the cancer went into remission. And so he was improving and doing much better, but sometimes he would still have pain. Actually, every time he ate, he would have some pain. But you could tell that he was excited to survive and live, and so we didn't put him down. Anyhow, fast forward to now. This option was the only way to bring him along with me. Otherwise, I would have to either put him down or have someone else take care of him, which was possible. But anyway, the point is that a month ago, a little over a month ago, which was a month after we moved in, he passed away. We had to put him down. He started deteriorating quickly, and I had to have him put down, and it was sad. But it wasn't like devastating or anything, because I had already, because of what I just described, I had already known he was going to pass. And I was always surprised that he was still, holding on for months and months and years after he was supposed to die. But yeah, Chip was a gangster, man. Like he was like the supreme apex alpha male of the neighborhood in his younger days. He was like the scourge of the neighborhood. But yeah, I don't have pictures of when he was like a beast. The pictures I have are from when he was much older. But I'll start with some of these. Hold on a second before you go on. Let me put this in list mode, make sure I have it in the right order. Okay, so here we go. We can switch over to the computer here. So this is Chip right here. This is, again, he's old and he's lost a lot of weight here, but this is him with after he's napped, and he has like all these leaves on him. It's cute. And then here's a little series. This is a fun little series. This is him with a grasshopper, and that's Mocha in the background. My main cat, and she's young and healthy, so thank God. And playing with the grasshopper, and then there you go. That's a good one. I like that one. And then the grasshopper in mid hop there. There's a little focus on Mocha, and then both of them. Okay, that's him just relaxing in the yard, sleeping. Oh, here's a little video. So that's Mocha, my cat, my main cat, and then that's Chip. And then, so here's one. I think, is this the one where Mocha messes with him? Let me see. No, this is just him. Okay, the next one might be. Okay, this is just this is just Mocha. But in case you guys haven't met my cat Mocha, she's like my whole world. She's like my heart and soul. That's Mocha. And then the next one. Okay, this is the one where she pops out from behind the bush. She's like crouched. He went over there to drink some water. She's like hiding behind the bush, and then she got caught, but she still wanted to like pounce on him. And then I'm like talking to them, but I muted it. So there you go. That's Chip. He passed away. So that was one of the things that happened. Oh wait, he was coming up to me for. Let me see that part. This is when he. Oh yeah. So he comes up and gets some pets. But anyway, so Chip, yeah, he started declining real fast, and he was in pretty bad shape. That's when I knew his time had come, and so I took him to the vet and had him put down. But it felt, it was actually a good release, and it was very peaceful because, again, I'd sort of already been quote unquote grieving, or not grieving, but I'd already like known his time had come for years now, and he had held on for 3 years longer than he was supposed to. So honestly, it wasn't like that. If I lost Mocha, that's when I would be absolutely completely devastated, like completely wrecked. But anyhow, so so yeah, this is the old place, obviously. I'll have pictures of the new place soon. And anyway, so he passed away, and he was such a gangster. He would literally, when it was like, he was an outdoor cat only, and when it would rain, he literally did not care. He would just walk, just casually sauntering, just through the heavy rain, and didn't care. Nothing fazed him. All kinds of creatures would come and go, and he wouldn't even like flinch. He wouldn't even like look at them. He didn't care. Like nothing dared touch him, because they knew he was like, that he was just so alpha. He was cool. He was cool. Yeah, dude. He was like, I want to be like him one day. So. Yeah, dude. Dangerous. Are you referencing? Have you read Wild at Heart? Anyway. Just the Wild at Heart. John Eldridge is a book, but about how like the masculine, at its fundamental sort of core, is meant to be dangerous and not just tamed. Anyway, but so. Yeah. Anyway, so that happened in the middle of all of the. So I moved August 1st, but that was just, I was barely, able to move in. Like, we had just gotten the place barely livable, and so I moved in, and there was still a lot of work that was still yet to be done. A lot of plumbing work, a lot of piping work, and a lot of other repairs and restoration projects that needed to be done. And so it took, I can't believe it took as long as it did, but I was working hard every day, and it took till now to get most of it done. And there's still some unpacking I still need to do, but most of it has finally been done. Anyway, so that's what I was what I was doing over the summer, and there was just no way of touching anything related to the channel, the podcast, and the work there, except for one thing. And this leads me to my next part of the story here, which is, as you guys probably know if you've been following along, I have been working on publishing my Ezekiel devotionals, and I already completed the digital version of the book months ago, and I sent it out to everyone who supported. And but I was, at the same time, I had been working on the physical copy, and I had just completed the first print and ordered it and had it shipped to me when all of this happened. Actually, it was in the middle of when it first was happening. And so I still worked on it even while I was trying to find a place to live and all of this. I was still working on that print publication, but because I was trying to like get it done, but I had to pause it, obviously, because it wasn't manageable. So first of all, before I go into this, I just want to glorify God for providing a place for me to move, to live. And it's actually, now that it's finally set up, it's a great situation. And it's a good place. Mocha has adjusted very well. And you might be wondering, was Mocha sad that Chip died? It's hard to know. I think she was bummed out for like one day. Like it was basically like I could tell she was acting, strangely for like only like a day, and then after that she was back to normal. But sometimes I notice she gets a little bit more like bored and sad than usual. Like especially when I can't give her attention. Like a lot of times I can't because I'm working, and so she'll get more bummed out than usual because I think before she used to be able to go out and play with Chip. And this is a new territory she's in. So even the neighborhood cats that have tried to befriend her, she's like being territorial and she doesn't like them. So I've been praying that she accepts them. The neighbor has 2 cats. They're sweet, boy cats. And they've been trying to befriend her, but she's had none of it so far. Anyway, Chip, he passed away. So it was a really rough night that I was, it's like, I won't share that part, but, I had to basically nurse him the whole night. And when I saw how bad it had gotten, I ended up having to find a 24-hour place, and I got him over there and had him put down, and he died at exactly 6:23 a.m. and it was exactly when the sun started rising. And then we buried him that night, or not that night, that evening, right when the sun was about to set. So anyway, so there you go. But on to this next update, which is that this thing, which you might know what it is already by now, came in the mail back in June. I was so stoked. This is the first and only so far copy of my Ezekiel devotionals. So here they are. This is it. This is the one. I'm going to show this other camera here, the close-up. So this is the first print copy of the Ezekiel devotionals. And let me see if I can. Oh, there we go. Okay, there you go. So the pages are pretty thick. Now, obviously, there's some formatting issues. As you can see, the text is too small, and the margins are too small on the sides, and the bottom part is like this empty space is too big. So I need to because this was formatted for like 8 by 11 digital copy, so it kind of worked for that. But for this is all backwards, so I don't know how to straighten it out. Everything's in reverse. But this is so I need your guys' input on this. Basically, should I? The thing about this, obviously the text is too small. I'm going to make it bigger, and I'm going to make the margins wider. But should I fill up the entire page, or should I leave some space at the bottom for notes? That's the question I have for you guys. So go ahead and let me know in the chat what you guys think I should do. Should I basically even it all out perfectly so that it's like a very sort of beautiful, aesthetically balanced block of text? Or should I kind of compromise and still leave a little bit of space at the bottom in case people want to take notes? So this is basically every chapter of Ezekiel. I pick out one verse, and then I offer some reflections. And honestly, like this is, I would like obviously I'm tooting my own horn here, but it came out really good. Like the Lord really met me in the writing of this, and I really truly believe, and this is the only reason I'm actually publishing this, is because I truly genuinely believe that it actually has something to offer people, and that it's actually very good. People used to, I was always like a nerd, right? So people, and including my dad and they always used to bug me like, oh, why don't you write books? You should write books. And I always waved it off and dismissed them and said, no, like, why would I, like I said, have you been to Barnes and Noble? Like the last thing we need is another book. Like, come on, are you serious? 99% of those books in Barnes and Noble are like utterly worthless, and we all know that. That's why we don't bother spending any time on them. And think about it, like in 100 years, in 200 years, 300 years, those books at Barnes and Noble, are any of them going to still be there? No, maybe like 1% of them will still be around, will still be circulating, will stand the test of time. And you know, it kind of felt like everyone and their moms wanted to write a book, and people thought they had something to say. This is actually the same reason I didn't start a YouTube channel until now. Because throughout my whole 20s, I was always passionate about theology and teaching, and I did teach classes and all kinds of things and whatever. But people always like told me, and I was always involved in video production, so people always said, "Why don't you X, Y, Z?" And it always had a bad taste in my mouth because it was so cringe, and everybody and their moms were trying to do that. You know, people were starting YouTube channels left and right, and it always like gave me a bad taste, and I didn't. It was just always like an embarrassing thing to me. And then same with publishing books. And what I would tell people is, if I publish a book, it's going to be like I said. I told them, I said, the reason why I don't publish a book or write a book is because I genuinely don't believe I have anything to add to what's already been written. Like, the best things that I've learned are things that I've learned from other authors and writers that are things that are already written in those books. Like, people should just go read those authors, because why would I try to, like, it's, to me, there's no honor in rewriting something someone else has already said. And so I always said, like, I'm sure, yeah, someday I'll write a book, like maybe in my later years, if that's what it takes for me to actually have something of value to contribute that no one else is saying, then okay, then I can write a book. I'll consider it. It was the same story with YouTube and streaming and all of that. And so that's why for all of my 20s, I avoided it, because I just felt like, no, if I'm going to write a book, I want it to be something that will still be at the bookstore 100, 200, 300 years from now. And that might be a little bit of presumption on my part to even think that I can gauge that. But it was, and obviously I can't gauge that. But the idea behind it, the psychology behind it was, at least let me feel like what I'm going to publish has something to really benefit and contribute and add, and to help and bless people in a way that truly changes their view of God and of the scriptures and of their lives, in a way that actually is fruitful. And oh, Bart has a friend who typesets, he says. Thank you, Jonathan. Jonathan just alerted me to Bart's comment here. Thank you, Bart. He says, great work, Randall. I appreciate that. So, okay, perfect. I can hit up your friend, Bart. I was going to try to do it and see, because, okay, real quick, sidebar here. This is completely self-published, self-designed, as you can tell, because the design isn't that good. But I mean, I kind of like, here, let me show this part. I kind of like, I do like it, even though I know that it's not like the best, but I do like it because this is Gustave Doré, who's my favorite. Gustave Doré is my favorite artist. He's a French illustrator from. Okay, am I back on? All right, sorry about that, folks. I'm totally gonna blame JB.
That's fine. I'll take it.
I'm just kidding. For some reason, the stream got cut just now. Hopefully, we're still on the same channels. But I see Diana's comment, Diana Urbina. Thank you, Mrs. Urbina. She says, so wonderful that you got all that done, Randall. Good job. Thank you. I appreciate that. It means the world.
Yeah, we're back on. We're good.
So,
At least on YouTube.
yeah, I can see also Instagram is still on. Yeah, everything's still on.
Okay.
Good. It just yeah, we're back on. All right. So anyway, as I was saying, well, actually, before I go into this, let me go back to my sort of motives here for writing this. So I used to tell people, I'll write a book when I feel like I truly have something that either no one has said or that needs to be said in the way that I have to say it. And so this devotional, like I didn't expect for that to happen in even my 30s or in my younger years like this. I expected it to happen way later. But, you know, the Lord, he knows that I am slow to pull the trigger on things. And so he always brings certain people my way to kind of commission or to compel me to do something. And so this was the story behind this devotional, which is that actually Pastor Joel Home, back in 2016, he was actually the one who first got me to do this because he commissioned it. He commissioned me to write it. He was compiling small devotionals and reflections on the whole Bible, and he asked me to do Ezekiel for an app that he was publishing. And so I did it. So this was originally written in 2016, and then it was technically published on his app in 2020, but there was a lot of editorial, alterations that had to be done on it that I had no control over, and a lot of it got changed. And so I ended up deciding to go ahead and completely revise the whole thing, which I did this last year or two. So in the last couple of years, I've been working my way through each entry and completely revising it, which I'm so glad I did, because there's a lot that I wrote in 2016 that I was able to improve. And so, but even when I reread what I wrote in 2016, man, the burning of the Spirit in my soul while I read my own work was so intense that it just, I couldn't help but glorify God for that. That he really did show up when I did this thing. And so anyway, and so and so this is the reason I wrote this, because I truly, and revised it, and I'm now publishing, because I truly believe that the time has ripened. And I sat on this for 8 years because same with the YouTube channel. I sat on it for many years as well, because I didn't want to just jump the gun and just do my thing, my way, my time. In fact, I actually recorded a video back in 2020 and put it on YouTube, but never published it publicly, about what was going on with the lockdowns. And I've shared all of my sort of like my prophetic diagnosis, so to speak, my spiritual diagnosis of that whole thing, in these streams in recent days, which was a lot of it was a rehashing of what I said back in 2020. So maybe someday I'll unprivate that 2020 video, and you guys will see that was stuff I was saying way back in, like, what was it, March of 2020, or I don't know, sometime in 2020, but put on Patreon. Yeah. So I think maybe I'll give that link to my Patreon subscribers. It is a little bit, just in my vanity, it is a little bit embarrassing because I was a little bit overweight in that time. So it's not my best look, but honestly, I'm just being vain when I say that. So, so that's a great idea, Jonathan. Maybe I'll release the link for that video unlisted to Patreon subscribers. You could see kind of what I was doing back in 2020. The reason I never released it publicly, even though I uploaded it and published it privately, was because I was so scared of doing it in order to be seen. I was so scared of doing it out of vanity and vainglory. And I had such a bad taste in my mouth from others building ministries on their own agendas, on their own names, on their own sort of agenda, their own, they wanted, like, I was just so sick of seeing that I didn't want to be one of those people. And I was praying and praying and praying. And I felt like, at the time at least, and now I kind of look back and regret that I didn't publish it, but at the time in my conscience, I felt like the Lord was almost was testing me and was challenging me to see what I would do, and almost saying, are you really publishing this because you have a prophetic word for the church, or because you want to be heard or seen? And the truth was, it was probably a little bit of both. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Back to the point is this was the same reason why when I wrote this in 2016, I just sat on it for 8 years because I wanted to wait for the right time. And I felt like the right time came this year when I felt like the Lord sort of set ablaze an old coal, in the back burner of my soul, which was this thing. And I felt like he was prompting me to revise it and go ahead and publish it, which now I understand, because now that I've revised it, I understand what I needed to learn in order to fix what was originally written in certain parts and to improve it. Anyway, so back to, for what it's worth, hopefully I believe that I do have something here that is of tremendous value. And so anyway, that's the only reason. Otherwise, I wouldn't be publishing this. If I didn't think this was very good, I wouldn't be talking about it. I wouldn't be publishing it. But I back to the close up here. I want to show you guys the JB, if you don't mind switching to the close up here. So as you can see, as I was saying, let me know in the chat whether you think that I should leave any room at the bottom for notes, for people to take notes, or if I should just fill up the whole page with like just a very evenly distributed text block. So again, I'm going to obviously enlarge the text, the font size, and I'm going to I'm going to justify the typesetting so that it's like looks like a block. And then, let's see. So this goes through every chapter, and again, it's I can't. This is all. Everything I'm doing here is mirrored, so I keep doing everything backwards. This is the verse that I picked out of the chapter, and then I discuss it. But I don't just discuss the verse; I discuss the whole chapter usually in the devotional. So the way this works is the way I recommend in the preface is to read first the chapter of Ezekiel and meditate on it on your own first, and then after you've read the chapter in Ezekiel and meditated on it yourself, then you can read my devotional and sort of see how I try to tie together different elements of the chapter and of the surrounding chapters even. So, but even if you just read it standalone, it's still it'll still be very beneficial. Just you might not catch all of the sort of subtle connections. But anyway, so this goes all the way through. And then at the very end, I have this nice little picture of me. Someone said this looked like, what did they say? They said it looked like a obituary. Oh, right. Like this is like as if I died, and this is my funeral picture. The way, yeah, Michael said that. That's right. You remembered. You were there. I forgot.
He just texted me that he's watching.
Wait. Put yourself on mic so people can hear you. Okay. He said Michael was the one. What's his last name? From church? What? McLean? Yeah. Anyway, Michael McLean. He was actually on my last live stream back in June. Anyway, he said that he's the one who said that. I forgot JB was there in the conversation when he said that. But yeah, anyway, so and then what I was talking about, man, I get distracted so badly. What I was talking about was the artwork here. So this is by Gustave Doré, and it's this is one of his illustrations on the book of Ezekiel. This is obviously the Valley of Dry Bones. Gustave Doré is my favorite illustrator a classical illustrator. And he's from, I believe, the 18th century? Let me check. He's a French illustrator. Some of y'all might know his work because his biblical illustrations are famous. So he's from the 19th century. And he only did 3 pieces for the book of Ezekiel. All the other parts of the Bible, he usually has 1, maybe 2 sometimes depictions. But with Ezekiel, he has 3. And so it worked out perfectly because I used his Valley of Dry Bones on the cover, and I used his other one on Ezekiel. Here we go. I forgot what this one's called, but this is this is the prophet Ezekiel preaching to the people. And then the last one on the last page is his vision of the new Jerusalem. So I really like, I really like how it like worked out. And thankfully his stuff is what is it called? Public domain. So I was stoked to be able to use his stuff on that. Anyway, so now the way I published this was I actually was looking at different publishing options, and I just could not stomach the fact that these publishing companies take so much of the commission of the sales. Like they most of them take like 50% or more, and no, way more. Sorry, like I'm sorry. Most of them take like 70%. Between 50 and 70%, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. If I might be wrong on that. It's been months since I did the research, but I hated that idea and I couldn't stomach it. So I started looking into self-publishing options, and even like self-publishing on Amazon it was heavily penalized, a lot of fees and that sort of thing. And so eventually I found this weird place called Mixam. Yeah. So Mixam. And apparently like a lot of, like creators, like independent creators that do like comics and like graphic novels and stuff, they use this Mixam. And Mixam, it's just a printing service. So I actually was originally going to try to use FedEx printing, believe it or not, but their options were so limited that I abandoned that and looked at other options. And Mixam was like, a good one where you basically I can use design programs. So I just thought, why am I going to pay someone to publish it when I can do that myself? And obviously this isn't the best like design, in the world, but at least it's something to start with. And then I have friends that are in design that can help me out and help me make it good, down the road. And I know how to use Photoshop and all the Adobe Creative Suite and all of that. And so I thought, why am I going to pay someone else? And so I started formatting it myself. And this was the first test print that I did just to see how it looks. I just wanted to see what the material was like, what the printing was like. I just wanted to make sure it was a legit company. And it came out great. I just need to fix the formatting on the typesetting, which is the next iteration of this. Certainly by the end of the year, I would say that will be done, and God willing. And so let me see if I can pull this up. I want to show you guys how much it costs and everything. I want to be completely transparent with this to explain what I'm planning to do with this. So I'm going to log in here. Before we go into my screen, let me just pull up my thing here. So let me try to find my my account, and then so here we go. So if you want to go to my screen here, right, so this is Mixam, right? So here's the main site. If anyone knows anything about Mixam, please let me know in the comments, if you know good or bad things about it. And it's a printing service that lets you self-publish anything, any kind of material. And the way this works is you pay about, it's about $7. Actually, so let me see. There was two different versions of this because I was trying two different publications. Let's see. Here it is. So there's a version that's $6 and there's a version that's $7. The one I have in my hand is the $7 one. It costs $7 to print it, but the problem is it costs $4 to ship it, $3.99. So it's about $11. As you can see, it's about $12 with tax per book. Yeah, so it's not very cost efficient right now, but if I can, like save enough money or raise enough money on the side to kind of mass print, and then maybe that'll save on delivery. So I'm still figuring out all my options here, but because the print itself is $6-7, and the shipping is $4, which is about $11 or $12 in cost, I was planning on offering the book to people for $20. That way I make $8 and $8 or $9, let's say. And then eventually, if I'm able to raise enough either support or savings, then I can order in bulk. And then then I can offer it for like $15, let's say, because then I'll save on shipping, right? So that I would like to offer it for $15, where it's cost $7 to print, and then I make $8 on it, or $12, let's say. I can sell it for $12. Then it'll cost, let's say, $6 to print, and then $6 profit. And so these are just the thoughts I have on this. You guys can tell me what you think. But what I was planning to do, if you want to go back to my camera, I'm planning to give this. I'm going to send this for free to everyone who has supported me in the past, regardless of the amount. Everyone who supported me in the past. In fact, one thing I forgot to mention, I want to offer to my Patreon subscribers and Buy Me a Coffee. Actually, I think I only have one member on Buy Me a Coffee, but Patreon subscribers and to Buy Me a Coffee, that member, I want to offer a refund for the last 3 months if you want it, because I haven't been publishing or doing anything for the last 3 months. So if you want a refund of your last 3 months Patreon, I'll happily give that to you, and I'll still send you the book for the previous support you've given me. So just let me know if you want that refund. If you don't want it, great. Of course, that'll help me with the cost of everything the last 3 months that it took.
Sounds like a deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, you can definitely yeah. JB does support me. He's actually one of my highest supporters. So maybe I shouldn't have said that, but anyway. So yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome to that. No, dude, you're the one who deserves it the most, literally. But anyway, speaking of which, the Lord has been very kind. I want to just glorify him, because the whole move and all of the rebuilding and everything, it did cost quite a bit of money that the Lord provided. So I want to praise him for that. He provided exactly the amount I needed with freelance work that I got right before I was evicted. And then one story I'll share right now. We were coming down to the wire, and I only had like a day or two left, or a couple days. I had 3 days left before I had to move. And we hadn't yet repainted. We had hired people, like I said, to do the linoleum flooring after we had prepared everything, because we just didn't want to get that wrong. And so my friend helped me with that. But then we had to repaint it, and we didn't feel confident in the fact that we were going to do it correctly in such a short time. And so I made an executive decision to bite the bullet and pay to get it repainted, that half of the home. And the whole cost was about $450. And so I knew it was going to cost me about that much. And so I hired some guys to do it, and I bought the materials and whatever. And so I went ahead and did that. Now, God is so good. Look what happened. On that day, while they were painting it, and I was there on site, while I was watching them paint it, I got a call from a production manager of one of the companies that I do contract work for, freelance work. And they asked me, they said, "Are you available tomorrow? We urgently need somebody to fill in on a position." And even though I only had a few days before I had to move, I was available the next day because we had to let the paint dry anyway. And so I said, yes, I am available. And so the work for that next day, that production work next day, was exactly $450, the exact amount that I had just paid that I was going to pay that day for the paint job. And so this is just one example, but the Lord provided exactly what I needed. So glory to him. And part of the provision for that was through support from people as well. People, have been coming out of the woodworks this whole year, unexpected people to support the ministry and to support me. And so I got unexpected support that way as well. And from the support previously that you guys have provided. So I want to thank you guys for that. And I want to give glory to God. But anyway, back to the Patreon thing. I'm very happy to give the refunds for the last few months, because I didn't do any of the benefits or perks that I I'm supposed to be doing for the membership. So please let me know, and I'll happily do that. And the reason I'm happy to do that, honestly, a big part of that is also because I don't have that many supporters yet. Like I only have a few members, so it's not that much to give back the refund. So that's a big part of it. So I'm like, okay, let me do it right now when it's small. Let me be faithful with little, and then hopefully I can be faithful with much later. Anyway, so, but it is a huge, it does like actually for the amount that it is, it's like, you wouldn't believe how much it goes such a long way to cover, the needs that I have for to be able to keep doing this. So anyway, and hopefully this book can be part of that. That's a big reason for the timing of the release, is I felt like the Lord was encouraging me to go ahead and release it along with what I've been doing with this podcast for the last year. And if the Lord is pleased to breathe on it and it takes off and it becomes a good income stream, that would be awesome. I would love that, of course. Because then I could really focus on doing this work and doing it full time. So I'm not at that point yet, obviously, and I've had to pick up a lot more freelance work as I just shared. And so, and thank God he provided actually quite a bit of freelance work coming up this month for me, more than other months. So that's exciting. Hopefully that'll help me put me back in the green after everything from the last few months. So yeah, I'm going to check the chat and see what you guys think about all of this and what I should do with the, publishing and kind of what I'm doing and everything I just shared. So let's see what y'all say. So Ethan Maynard says, congrats. Appreciate it, brother. I know we need to catch up. Apologies for not keeping up recently with you, but I appreciate your good wishes for me. And Bart, I'll follow up with you on your friend who typesets. Let's see who else is on. Oh, wow. I missed a whole bunch. So I have James Chang. He was one of the friends who was helping me find a place when I was looking. He says, thought of you when I saw the news. How do you feel about the bombings in Beirut? Oh, man. Let me put a bookmark on that. Maybe, I don't know if I'll have time to come back to it this stream, but that's a big question. Yeah, it's a heavy thing. Thank you, James, for bringing that up. And then Ryan, I see you, chiming in here. You say, he says, we love to lurk, but I'll shout you out. You're not lurking anymore because you left your comment, brother. So good to have you, Ryan. And Reverend Mike says, sorry, got cut off. Couldn't get back on. Okay, I'm glad you're back. I know we got cut off here. I see a bunch of y'all have joined, so good to have you guys on. I'll shout you out only if you leave a comment. But good to have all of you guys. So let's see. Am I missing anything else? I think that's it. I think, yeah. So moving on. Any thoughts before I move on from you or no? Okay. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I did have to, I was going to mention this. The Lord has provided. One of the ways I had to, one of the things I had to resort to make ends meet, I had to started donating plasma. That was actually on the same month that I was moving and like laboring nonstop, morning to midnight. But that helped a lot as well. I've been also applying for jobs. And that's it. That pretty much covers that. So yeah, any thoughts on the, if you guys have any thoughts on the publishing costs that I just shared with you guys. And if you guys want to pre-order this, it'll be ready obviously by the end of the year, God willing. But if you want to pre-order it, you actually can. You can, basically anyone who becomes a member between now and the release of the book, at any level, $5, $10, doesn't matter. You'll get this book. Or even if you do a one-time donation of $15 or more, then I'll send this to you as a thank you. I'm sorry, $20 or more. $15 or more for a free digital copy. Actually, I'll give you guys a digital copy at any amount. But the reason I said 15 or more is because in this link for pre-ordering, here, let me try to find it. So, let me see, where is that thing? Right. Okay. Let me see. So it's through right now. I haven't figured out the best way to do it yet. So for now, it's on Buy Me a Coffee. And then once I publish it, it'll be directly through Mixam, the publishing site, the printing site. So let me try to find shop. Okay, here it is. Here's my shop. Okay, so I used the shop feature on Buy Me a Coffee, and here's the link. I'm going to send it now. And of course, you'll be able to find this and all of my stuff on my website, deebthoughts.com. So if you lose this link, you can always go to deebthoughts.com. It's my last name, deebthoughts.com. And then let me put this on the chat. So here's the link. Hopefully it goes to everything. It went to Twitch, it went to YouTube, but it didn't go to Facebook. Pre-order Devo. So there's the link, and then I'll put it on Instagram. There's the link. So, and here it is as well. Here's the link. So that link will take you to the Buy Me a Coffee page where you can, oh, yes, I sent the right one. Yeah. Where you can, so it's listed there as $15. And normally it's going to be $20. So it says here pre-order for $5 more, meaning if you go ahead and purchase this $15 one, you'll get the digital copy. If you add $5 to the purchase, then you'll get the print copy. However, if you've already supported me at any amount in the past, then you're already going to get it. So you don't need to do that. But if you just want to go ahead and pre-order it, individually, you can do it through this website. Actually, you can switch over to this website real quick to show them. This is what the page looks like. You see, it says $15 here, and then here it says pre-order the print for $5 more. So I think there should be a place when you order this to add $5. The $15 is for the digital copy, but I'll give you the digital copy for now for any amount, $5, $10, as long as it's whether it's a membership subscription or if it's a one-time donation. So it's up to you. There's different options. It's basically like your price. Whatever price you want, you can basically do it. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to go ahead and let's switch back to me, because I'm going to go ahead and give you the description that I wrote for this as a pitch, and then I'm going to splice this segment of the stream to use later for a standalone sort of ad. So this Ezekiel devotional, I've already discussed it at length, but sort of the way I want to sort of approach the idea behind this is that we tend, as Christians, we tend to avoid the parts of the Bible and the aspects of God that are hard to swallow. And but if you really want to embrace God only in part is not to embrace him at all. To embrace God, you must embrace him whole. The book of Ezekiel invites us to contemplate the terror of God, because only in doing so, only when we contemplate the terror of God, do we discover the depth of his beauty and of his love. We find his love hidden in his wrath, and his salvation hidden in his judgment, and his rest hidden in his burden. In fact, in this book of Ezekiel that Ezekiel wrote, and in the devotional I make very sort of plain that God shares his name, and he shares a name that you have never probably heard before. So all of us have heard kind of the names of God, right? Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who sees to it, or the Lord who provides. Jehovah Rohi, the Lord who sees. Jehovah Tzidkenu, the Lord our righteousness. Jehovah, I almost said Salam, which is Arabic. Jehovah Shalom, the Lord our peace. Jehovah, the Lord our banner. That one is Jehovah. Nisi, Jehovah Nisi, the Lord our banner. And there's many more, of course. But there is another name that you probably never heard, Jehovah Nake. And I'm not going to tell you what it means. But it's I talk about it in my devotional, and it comes from Ezekiel. Jehovah Nake is just as much one of God's names as the others. It's the same exact construction. It's the same exact format, like the syntax of the Hebrew construction of the text is the same exact kind of revelation of the Lord and his nature, Jehovah Nake. And when you find out what it means, you'll understand why it's the one that people leave out. You'll understand why it's the one that nobody brings up or that is not found on those lists. So Jehovah Nake is in the book of Ezekiel. It's in Ezekiel 7. So, there you go. If you want to find out for free, obviously, just read Ezekiel 7 and you'll find it in there. But I go into detail. In fact, I just realized I give it away on this website, on the pre-order website. It's actually that specific entry is in there. I forgot that I actually put it in there, so you can actually read that page. But I think it's very telling that that's the name of God that we have left out. And I think it explains a lot of why the church has gone awry and astray in recent generations, because we've left out this aspect of God, this characteristic of God, which actually is one of the well springs of the others as well. They all are intertwined, of course. And so, that is my pitch for this book. So if you're interested, if you want to support me, then I can offer this to you as a thank you for supporting me at any amount more than $15, because it costs $12 to print it and ship it. But I am asking for $20, so $20 is preferable. That way it costs $12 to print and ship, and then I make $8. But anyway, that's what I've been working on, and that's what's coming up soon. So go ahead and pre-order your copy if you like. And then the next topic here, since we're out of time, is I'm almost done. Good. Okay, yeah, I'm finished. That's pretty much it. So those are all the updates. I was just going to give you guys the upcoming streams and videos and the plan that's coming up, which is the next stream is on the 17th, so 2 weeks. I'm going to start streaming every other week. And the reason for that is to use the off week to publish standalone videos that are taken from the streams or from anywhere, or to take a break from the podcast because I'm working that week. So like sometimes I pick up, again, freelance work in order to, pay my bills. And so the next one is the 17th, and then the one after that is the 31st. So Thursday nights, 6 p.m. It'll be here with Jonathan, for this month. But we are planning to set my place up by the end of the month to stream from there. The place I lived in before had really bad internet, and I couldn't stream. That's why I'm streaming here. But the place I'm living at now has really good internet, so I can set up the stream at my place now. So it'll be easier to stream.
Mark has a question.
Yes. Can you get on the mic?
I don't have a
Oh, okay, he doesn't have the mic set up. Okay, Bart has a question. Go ahead, Jonathan.
In what sense was Jesus tempted?
In what sense was Jesus tempted? Oh, we talked about that at incredible length in the previous streams. We talked about that very, very intricately. So I would, for now, because we don't have time, I don't want to take up more of his time. I wanted to keep this stream short. But what I can do is, well, it's actually, I actually have chapter markers where I talk about his temptations in this previous streams. But I can try to dig those up for you instead of rehashing everything now. Let me try to find I want to try to find, I'm not seeing where's his, oh, here it is. I found it. One theology question: in what sense was Jesus tempted? So if you want to, okay, I'll tell you what, Bart, if you are willing to make your question extremely specific, exactly what you mean by that, then maybe I can answer it quickly. But the way you've phrased it here, it's a great question, and I have talked about it at length, so in several streams already. So for now, I'll point you to that. And but if you want to reword your question so that I can answer it quickly, or exactly figure out exactly what you mean by it, then I'll answer it quickly. And then the other one that came up, the other question that came up was about Lebanon. So that's actually a perfect segue. James asked me about Lebanon and what's going on. This is a perfect segue because what I was about to say anyway, and what I have written down here, is that the topic of discussion and the series that I'm currently going to be publishing and working through is the one I started in June, which is about Israel. And it's about ancient Israel and modern Israel and the covenants and how they operate. And the fact that Israel is not automatically and is not without Christ in God's favor. And in fact, precisely because of their special covenant with God, they are actually even more accountable and more beholden to the threats of the curse of the covenant. In fact, because they rejected their Messiah, Jesus even himself says that you are under the curse of the covenant until you learn to say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, which they have not yet. And so to try to support or establish the state of Israel apart from their repentance in the Messiah is to bypass God's covenant and his condition. And this was actually the subject of the most recent video that I published back in June. So if you want details on what I just said, I go into some depth on that in the video, the most recent video on my YouTube channel. It's the one called, what's it called? That's the one what did I call it? I called it A Prophecy Against Israel, Exposing the Antichrist. So if you want to get more details on that, that's the first entry in the series that I'm going to be going into, which is Israel, and how Christians should think about Israel and whether or not Christians are supposed to support Israel, which some people are maybe shocked to hear that, because we often are going in these Christian circles where everyone very strongly and vehemently says that we should be unanimously supporting Israel no matter what, and pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and we need to bless the seed of Abraham, but actually each of these things mean the exact opposite of what we think it means. And I actually talked about it in my previous streams already, so you can actually find the whole series in the 3-hour streams that I did in May and June. But you don't have to do that. I'm going to be segmenting those and publishing them as standalone videos, just like I did with the last one. And so I'm going to be publishing those, and then hopefully I'm planning to have a couple of different friends on the podcast that I will be interviewing. One friend, God willing, and if he's willing, I'm not going to name him yet until that's confirmed, but he is incredibly knowledgeable in great depth about the historic and geological politics of that entire region, way more than me, way more. Like, he's just incredible well of knowledge, way more than anyone else I've talked to, in fact. And I'll have you know, we actually disagree on a lot of how we ought to view Israel. We do agree on some things, but we disagree as well. So it'll be very, very good to have that other voice and to have me be able to, joust with him on that, so that for your guys' benefit, to see you guys can make your up your own minds. And then I have another friend as well who's has a lot of good, helpful depth of knowledge that I don't have. It was specifically with regards to the Hebrew language, and with the Jewish, like especially the history of the Jewish intertestamental and post-Christian era. And so I hope to have him on as well. And I have a feeling that when I have at least the first friend on that I mentioned, that if anything is worthy of going viral, it's going to be that one. And it's specifically because it's not going to be primarily my content, but his content. His content is so good that I'm guessing that video is probably going to go viral because of the fact that he's on there sharing what he's sharing. And that's going to be the most worthy video I've published that is worthy of going viral because of his input. And so hopefully I'll reveal who that is soon when I can get confirmation about it. He's super game to do it, but I just want to make sure we before I shout him out. So let's see if there's anyone else, and that's pretty much it. The last thing I wanted to do is just a little segment that I want to start doing just for fun, and this will be how we close. But just I want to go through some of the books that I'm reading, and next time I'll bring this up earlier in the stream so that people can start conversations about these books and we can maybe talk about them. This time around, I'll just bring it up, and then next time we can talk about it. But just a few of the books that I'm currently reading, and before I show you what books I'm reading right now, none of these books that I am when I read books, it doesn't, and when I show you what I'm reading, it has nothing to do with it's not a promotion of those books whatsoever. I frequently read books that from authors that I hate and people that I would disagree with vehemently, because that's how you learn, and that's how you also strengthen your own argument. So just because I show you a book or present a book that I'm currently reading, it might be the worst book in the world. It might be the most deceptive book in the world. And that's probably why I'm reading it. Like, that's why I read the Quran, was to be able to evangelize to Muslims. That's why I read the Bhagavad Gita, was to evangelize to New Agers or Hindus or whatever. That's why I've read X, Y, and Z. So this is kind of in that vein. Some of right now the books I'm reading are good books, but just giving that it's not an endorsement of the book unless I say it is. So the first book that I'll bring up, this is probably the most kind of accessible book for most folks. This book here, God's Plan, this is one of those Christian subculture, things from the 90s. This was written, I think, in 1990. Yeah, 1998. This was written in 1998. This is David Wilkerson. I love David Wilkerson. If you haven't heard his sermon, a cry of, what was it called? A Call to Anguish. A Call to Anguish. Look up David Wilkerson, A Call to Anguish, and you'll know why I decided to read this book. That's the only reason. So this book is called God's Plan in the Coming Depression. Remember, this was written, God's Plan to Protect His People in the Coming Depression. So this was actually, again, written back in 1998. And this is the back if you want to see what he looks like. But so David Wilkerson, I do believe he was anointed and of God and very prophetic in what he talked about. And I don't put a lot of stock in modern Bible prophecy voices. Like 99.9% of them I just like kind of laugh at, to be honest. But I decided to kind of humble myself and read this one. just because I respect him so much. Now, a lot of what he talks about can apply to many things. It can apply to the 2008 market crash. It can apply, the 10 years. He wrote this 10 years before that. He even talks about like a vision that he had of New York in flames, and that this was 3 years before 9/11. So there, you could sort of extrapolate on some of the stuff he says and apply to different things. But I just had a sense that I was supposed to read this, and so I'm just reading it, just very open-mindedly. And again, this is the kind of book that I would normally be embarrassed to be associated with, but I'm humbling myself because I respect this man so much. So I'm gonna, and so far it's completely surprised me. It's incredible. Like, it's not what I thought it was gonna be. It's very, very good. And I thought this guy was a dispensationalist. Boy, I was wrong. I thought this is the one thing I was like worried about. But he's literally like, he's just when he describes like Zion and God's covenant with his people, I was just shocked that he wasn't dispensational at all. He was very covenantal. But anyway, that's the first book I'm reading currently. I'm halfway through it. The next book I've been reading, and this is something I've been reading for years, and I'm always rereading it. This is The Dark Night of the Soul by St. John of the Cross. This is written in the 13th century. The Dark Night of the Soul. This is one of the books I would recommend more than any other book. It's his top 3 Christian books that I would recommend. He diagnoses the soul in a way that is just beyond belief. He's extremely insightful and incisive and prophetic about and the way he describes the Christian walk. This if you want to understand me and my own life and what I've been through, this is the book that sort of describes me perfectly. So that's The Dark Night of the Soul. Very highly recommend. And then the third book that I've been in the middle of reading is Paralandra by C.S. Lewis. This is part of his space trilogy. The first book is called Out of the Silent Planet. This is the second book. It's called Paralandra. So don't ruin it if you've read it. I don't know what happens, but I actually was reading it before I was moving, and I got a good way through it, but then I stopped reading for months because of my move. And so I just started rereading it from the beginning again. And anyway, so this is a fiction series, and the premise of it is that there are other worlds that are inhabited by other civilizations, other planets that the Lord formed and made and filled, but ours was just one of them, and ours was the only one that fell. That's the premise behind this series, is that loose basically, and I could be wrong, but this is how I understand it so far, is that the one that was in charge, the angel that was in charge of our world, was the only one that fell and that deceived us and caused us to fall. And so this is actually a sci-fi book, if you can believe it. But anyway, so those are the books I'm reading currently, and that's pretty much it. So I think I don't see any other comments here that I need to catch up on. So I'll leave it at that. And thanks for joining me for this catch up. And I will be back on in 2 weeks. And until then, if you're interested in pre-ordering this, then you can go to my website, deepthoughts.com, and you'll find the link for the pre-order, or it's in the chat right now, right here, and I'll put it in the comments as well. So thank you all again, and I'm just going to pray us out and let you guys go. So Father, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to get back in the saddle and to start things back up. And I do pray that you would provide for me through this ministry so that I can do it full time. I put it on the hearts of the people that are watching or listening to share it with the right people, and that it would reach the ones who are looking for people to financially support, and looking for causes and ministries that are worthy. So I ask that you would provide for me, And I ask that you would bless everyone who has been supporting me and following. And I ask that you bless Jonathan Bruce for his hospitality and hosting this stream. So we bless you, Lord. We love you, and we thank you. We praise you. Jesus.